Hello everyone! In this video we're gonna continue with the introduction of SwiftUI. We're gonna explore in this case what about list, how we could create a list, which earlier we called it table view in UIKit. So we're gonna explore what are the requirements in this case for SwiftUI to develop an application with a list. My name is Pete and this is Swift and Teams. Alright, so we also have a bunch of great features to build views in SwiftUI. I wanted to show you one of the most important views, and that is pretty common in our developing, which is list. You might remember that in UIKit there are a couple of delegates that you need to confirm when you create a view controller, and then you need to specify how many items you will display, what is the cell, etc, etc. So yeah, forget about that, because in SwiftUI there is a much simpler way to do this. What we're going to do is going to replace this text and we're going to type list, right? So we have a bunch of ways to get the information we wanted to display for a list. We're going to use this specific initializer, and there is basically three parameters that we require to display a list. One is data, that is giving us, okay, give me a data that is conforming random access collection, which is basically an array of anything, just to simplify the idea here. Also is asking for a keypad. I will explain that in later videos, but basically is accessing the properties directly, or specifying, in this case, what will be the ID to identify every view that we will render, or every cell that we will render in the list, because every cell should have its own ID in order to make SwiftUI know that what to display exactly. And of course the raw content, which is basically the view we're going to display, or in other words, the cell that will be rendered in our list, right? So okay, data basically is could be anything, so we could create an array of data, in this case a bunch of numbers from 0 to 4. For ID, for this ID, let's keep self, which is basically making a reference that the property that we use for ID is basically the number itself, right? In this case, 0 to 4. And raw content, if we make double click here, okay, we could remove this boilerplate, and what we will get here is, well, let's call it index. And you could use basically any view that you want, right? So you could use here images, you could use text, or your own custom view. In this case, let's make it simple. Let's use text, and let's render this with actually with the index value. And that's pretty much it. As you can see, there is the number of the elements here from 0 to 4, right? So we could increase this to 50, and there you have it. If we run the preview, yeah, you have a list of 50 elements immediately. Of course, we have here an array with image names, right, that we want to use here. Let's replace this set of images, right? But in this case, well, yeah, we are still using the ID self, because every item here is unique, so it's good to continue with the ID. And for this case, what we're gonna do is we're gonna replace this. Let's change for name, right? And let's call image. There you have it. Now let's just use resizable and use a frame of 100. Yeah, of course. That's great. If you're on this, yeah, it's working, right? So now you may already seen that we are missing a navigation header here. It's pretty easy to add it. So let's use navigation view and put everything inside. There you go. Now, okay, the navigation is there, but there's no title about that. So the only thing you need to use is add a modifier here to establish a name, navigation title. So let's type, demo, or call it. There you have it. So now, even if you wanted to create a custom cell here, displaying, for example, the name of the image, you can do it, but let's make it. So let's create a HStack. And there you have it. Now, as you may see, yeah, it's really simple to create a list with SwiftUI. But you may start seeing that, okay, it's just a pretty basic application, and our cell is already, well, a bit thick for what we are doing here. So if we wanted to keep things cleaner, what we can do is just selecting with command click, and we could just extract the subview. And immediately Xcode is giving us a default name. We could just use Nivo cell, right? And there you have it. You have already the cell extracted, right? So, of course, there are some issues that you may already see. One of them is that name is not existing anymore, so what you have to do is just declaring name in this case, which is a string. And adding name here. Oops. There you have it. So your list and cell are more clear. Are clearer. So lastly, I wanted to mention that you could even create a detailed screen right away with pretty few lines of code. Basically, one line of code. You just need to add the navigation link. And with this initializer destination label, you could create a navigation that will give you a detail of where you are just pressing. For this, what you can do is just saying what is the view that will be the destination. In this case, it's just a simple text view that containing the name. And the label is, of course, the actual cell that we are displaying. Yeah, as you can see here, we have the arrow, the disclosure indicator that you could press. There you have it. Even if you wanted, you could replace this with the image. And when you open it, there you go. You have your image immediately. I mean, think about the next time you use UIKit. it's so ridiculous how things work in SwiftUI compared with UIKit.
Cool. That's all for this video. Yeah, it's so powerful and so simple to manage compared with UIKit in this case. Yeah, SwiftUI has done a great job with this specific element. But there are more. So subscribe to the channel to see more information about SwiftUI, obviously all the things related to Swift and the whole Apple ecosystem. Thank you so much and have a great day.